Is this thing on?
Are you ready, Matt?
You're listening to Box Office Bingers with Matt Diaz and Ernesto Santos.
Good evening, folks. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Box Office Bingers.
And the only way that I know how to do it is to find you a bloody good dump.
He's my friend. I don't have friends. I got family. I can do this all day.
You know, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Let's get into it right now. It's happening. Estevan, here we go. We're Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's what we're talking about.
Is that why we're here?
Is that why we're here? Oh, crap.
So we're about to dive into our spoiler review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Estevan, I know you've been waiting for this for forever. I want to go to you first of like the history of sorts, like a brief history of like how we got to the Zack Snyder cut.
I have been waiting for this since 2017 when I walked out of that theater and thought to myself, what the fuck just happened? Because you know what? So 2017, the theatrical version of Justice League comes out. We're all excited about it. It's supposed to be the third installment into Zack Snyder's, epic, opera of these DC characters, starting with Man of Steel, which went into Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. If you haven't watched it, I suggest watching it, the Ultimate Edition. I know it's 3 hours long, but at this rate, we kind of... Which is also funny, because you know what? I was telling somebody this the other day. If you watch any of Zack Snyder's films, the best version of Zack Snyder's films are always the director's cut. Like
Absolutely.
Watchmen director's cut, love it. Watchmen theatrical version, I'm like, it's all right. I mean, maybe the only one is probably like Man of Steel. Man of Steel was pretty good theatrically of what they gave. But then BVS, the Ultimate Edition was just incredible. And then now, clearly, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I think if we learned anything, Warner Brothers just needs to step off of Zack Snyder and let him do what he needs to do creatively. Like, shut up and let me do my work. But yeah, so we ended up, and then Zack Snyder, unfortunately, his daughter Autumn had died due to suicide. So Zack had to pull out of the film. I believe him and his wife pulled out. Deborah Snyder. So they pulled from the film. Warner Brothers decided to. Somebody in Warner Brothers saw all of this movie that Zack's. I want to know who it was too. Watched this movie and went, nah, trash it. Somebody called Joss Whedon. We're gonna go ahead and get this redone. So they bring in Joss Whedon to kind of just finish up. That's all he was supposed to do was finish up Justice League, kind of do the post-production stuff. Joss came in and literally 30 minutes of Justice League. Only 30 minutes of it is actually what Zack Snyder had already filmed. Everything else was reshoots. And Joss Whedon gave us this very colorful, very stupid Saturday morning cartoon version of Justice League that pissed me off, honestly, just because, I was so excited when it started because I was like, oh my god, this is the first time that these characters that I have adored as a kid are going to be live action put together on film. And I was like, this is great. And then it started and it started to I'm like, I don't know where it's going. Like what's the story? I was like, okay. And I think my initial excitement got the best of me because, of course, after it was done, I was like, oh, my God, I was so excited. But then after you think about it, you're like, actually, that was kind of shit, wasn't it? Like, that was shit. And I was like, man, I was like, one of the biggest issues that I had, I'm such a huge Batman fan. So the fact that they had Batman making jokes throughout Justice League, I was like, you, Joss Whedon. How dare you?
How dare you?
This is not a Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode. How dare you? And
to be honest, though, like, at the time, Joss Whedon just came off of directing Avengers Age of Ultron. So you can't blame at the time, you can't blame Warner Brothers when they're looking for a director to kind of, fill in the shoes of like, hey, we had this guy who basically took these, like Marvel, and brought them together, so why wouldn't we just bring him on for DC? When I first heard the news, I was excited about that. I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry for Zack Snyder, but I wasn't the biggest fan of Batman v Superman. I'm like, all right, maybe Joss Whedon can just put his little personal touches in to make it a great movie. And as you just said, it did not turn out that great at all.
What? Because if I was ever running for running for office, of course they'd come back and be like, actually, you said this back in 2017 stuff. But no, I agree with you too, because at the time I was like, fuck yeah, Joss Whedon's coming in, he's gonna fuck some shit up, he's gonna make it look great,
We all had
he's
high
gonna do all
hopes.
this, he's gonna do
Yes,
I
high hopes.
had the best of high hopes. And then quickly it was not that. And then very, very quickly, like instantly after this movie came out and after it was bombed and after it like just did not make the money and the press tour was awful, the fan community just like banded together. Like everybody was just like, you know what, screw this. We want to see the Snyder Cut. And then hashtag release the Snyder Cut was born. And for the past 4 years, it has just been an ongoing thing. And it's a testament to the fans, I think, as well too. This is Zack Snyder's original version. However, I also believe that this is also Zack Snyder's love letter to fans. Like this was just, it was gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's a completely different story. There's completely new characters. It's a completely different version of what he even had in mind, and it makes sense with the last two movies, with Man of Steel and BVS. And what I was saying earlier is like, I want to know who in Warner Brothers watched this and was just like, nah, it's fine. I'm like, what? So, but no. And then for the past 4 years, the fan base has really been behind Zack Snyder, and Zack knew it. And I think Zack Snyder, that's why he constantly was like, he has a Vero account, so he would like release an image of like Ben Affleck that we never seen before. We're like, ooh, and then he like released an image of something else, and you're like, ooh. And we're like, come on.
Are you even allowed to do this?
I know. I was like, aren't you like
to
under
see
contract? I know. And it was just so great to hear like, all this stuff. And then a year ago, pretty much like to the day, he had did that screening on his Vero account of him watching Man of Steel. And fans could log on and watch him watch Man of Steel. And he talked about what he was expecting, where the idea of the story was supposed to go and where it was going to do all these wonderful things. And right before that, I think we had no right after that. Okay, so we were trying to, and everybody was like, oh my god, maybe he's gonna announce something, maybe he's gonna say something, because it's almost been like 4 years since Justice League, and he had Henry Cavill pop up as a special guest, and people were like, oh shit, what's happening? And then Zack was like, maybe this will help ease everybody's mind, and then had that first image of like the six in black and white, and it says only on HBO Max, and people like me were just like, like do I cry? Do I scream? Like, what do I do? And I was just I was so excited, and I think I was just more excited in the fact of like seeing like a trilogy finally make its way like the right way it was supposed to. Of course, I'm excited to see Batman and everybody on screen again, but more so to actually get like justice in quote unquote for this film and for these characters more so than anything else. And I think that's what this was mainly. These characters got justice, like no pun intended, but like it did them justice. It rounded everybody out. It gave them a beautiful arc. It gave them purpose, and it gave them like a legit like something to look forward to in the future, whether it be in the Snyderverse or whether it be somewhere else in the multiverse of DC. I think this film just did a great job at making us feel heard as fans. And who knows, was it all because of the fans, because we wanted it? Maybe not. Maybe finally somebody at Warner Brothers, after they did their little shakeup of people in charge, were finally like, actually this was pretty good, like this is amazing. And I don't know if any of y'all read it, but Vanity Fair did a really good article on the Snyder Cut, because this is unprecedented. Like, this has never happened before. Many directors and many actors have talked about this multiple times. They're like, this is a first of its kind. Nobody has ever gotten their movie to like redo their version because like the theatrical version sucked and everybody's like, oh, we didn't like that. This is the first time that they got a budget together again so they could finish post-production, bring original actors back, bring people back to do reshoots 4 years after the initial theatrical release. So it was everything to me. I loved it all, and the response to it has just been pretty positive on like the go around. And if you look at it, it's funny. Justice League in 2017 had like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes with like a 70% like audience review, and then now Justice League, you know, when it first debuted like on Friday was like at a 75% Rotten Tomatoes with like a 99% audience review. I was like, oh my god, clearly something was done right and wrong here. So yeah, I thought it was great.
Well, first of all, thank you for explaining that, because some people might not know like why this is so significant, and so thank you for kind of describing kind of how the Zack Snyder's Justice League came to be, because I think for me that's the most interesting part about this. Like you were saying, this is something that's never happened before. It's not like a lot of directors don't get a second chance of directing the same movie. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, not directing the same movie, but like being able to make the same movie that's already out. Like, this isn't like a remake or a reboot. It's the same movie. I mean, hold on, let me rephrase that. It's a different version of it. It's Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's not the same movie, but it's
a completely different film.
It's a completely different film. It is, and I'm correcting myself. But like, it's the same story is what I mean. Yeah. Like for the most part, it's like it's the same materials, it's the same parts, just you get more of it and told in a different way. It's kind of like, all right, I want you to have this movie, but I want you to re-edit it. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, not a lot of reshoots went into it. It's very unprecedented. So obviously, Estevan, you thoroughly enjoyed the film. That's no surprise there. Ernesto, what were your thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I absolutely loved this movie. Like, it needed, and what's crazy is that after the 4 hours, I was like, I felt like it needed all 4 hours. Like, it gave every character their chance to breathe. Like, you know, you got like a little bit of everything in the opening Amazonian when they're talking about the original battle for the mother boxes. You see a little bit of the lanterns. You see that little quick scene where he cuts off the hand of that one lantern. And the lantern ring flew away after Darkseid almost grabbed it. I mean, Ezra Miller's intro as the Flash when he's at the interviewing for that job, and then I'm assuming
that's Iris West.
Yeah, that's Iris West. I'm assuming. Yeah. But like that whole little.
She just signed on to come before the Flash movie too.
Yes, that was a beautiful intro. Like the cyborg setup. I mean, that was great. Like, everybody had their time. And what's interesting is that they even had time to introduce us to new characters that we didn't even know were even being thought of for this film. Like, I don't know, Martian fucking Manhunter. That shit blew my mind. I was like, that's Martian fucking, I'm pretty sure that guy who was the general or whatever, he was in wasn't he in Batman versus? He was in Man of Steel.
I think he was Man of Steel too. Yeah, he was in Man of Steel.
He was in both films. Yeah.
So it's like we would never have even known that Zack Snyder was setting him up to be that.
Isn't it crazy? And like, literally, I was in bed watching it, and the moment that happened, because it was funny, because after Martha comes out and then she has the red eyes, like, oh fuck! I was like, damn it, Martha's like possessed.
I thought it was a parademon.
I know, and that's what I thought too. I was like, fuck, Martha's possessed or something. And then you see the cape fall and starts to like, literally, I'm like
it's the Martian fucking Manhunter. What is he doing?
I was like, what in the fuck is happening? So I was like, oh my god. And yeah, it was just, oh
you
my
get
god.
him.
That was a great moment, yeah.
You get Ryan Choi, a little bit at the end, introducing him, taking over Star Labs, and for those who don't know, he later becomes the Atom. Like, but you know what's sad is that we're not gonna get any more of this. I would love to see the whole Nightmare cut, like a whole movie of the whole Nightmare, of everything that happens in his Nightmare.
And he said the sequel would have been set majority, like, prominently in the Nightmare realm.
And then, I'm sorry, and at the very end, where we fucking saw Deathstroke. Like, what? Like,
that nightmare epilogue, just that scene alone was worth the entire film for me.
I would even love to see a Batman movie with Batman and Deathstroke as the villain. Like, they obviously set that up to be perfect. And I would love to see, and it's sad because like the movie's 4 hours and I'm like, I just wanted more of this. I just wanted more of that. Yeah. Like, I wanted more Joker. I would love to have seen more introduction of Joker and to talk about. I mean, we got to talk about it a little bit in the epilogue with him killing Robin.
Yeah.
Us kind of revisiting that, and then now they're all together, obviously, to band against Superman because he's gone evil.
It was brilliant, dude, and I love that nightmare scene because it was very much just an homage to the Flashpoint, because in the Flashpoint, this it's Mara, it's Cyborg, it's Batman, and all of them banding together to kind of like take out Superman. And then Mara even had that point. She's like, I want to drive this through his heart for what he did to Arthur. So I was like, well, what the fuck did he do to Arthur? I want to see what's happening.
There's so much happening.
There's so much. And Zack had said that too. He's like, well, it would have been held in the nightmare realm, and we would have saw a whole scene and a whole thing of Joker murdering Robin. And I was like, I want to see Joker murder Robin so bad. And but yeah, I agree. Like, it was just one of those things where it's like that nightmare scene did so much for me. Instantly, Jared Leto got redemption. Like, instantly.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, easily. That was the best interaction of Batman and Joker that we needed. Like, for this version, because obviously Batman and Joker have met in many different versions of film, but we had never seen Ben and Jared's version speak to each other. And one of my favorite lines from this entire, there's multiple, but one of my favorite is just like at the end when he was just like, speaking of holding people in my arms when I die, when I held Harley Quinn in my arms, she said to kill you slowly, and make no mistake, I will fucking kill you. And I was like,
yeah.
I was like,
Ben Affleck is a really great Batman. Like, I have to say, like, and I think you really have to watch his cut of BVS, because then it becomes more, I don't know what it is, like, but it becomes more forgiving when he's going in and just fucking taking people out. Like, you really, I guess you get a better understanding of why he is as brutal as he is.
I love the idea of him he's been doing this for 20 plus years, and he's over everybody's bullshit. Like, you know what? Fuck y'all. I don't care anymore. Just kill them all. I don't care.
Yeah.
He's like, I've told you once. I've told you twice. I've told you a million times. And if you ain't going to listen, all right, you're done.
And also the arc between Vic Cyborg and his dad that played throughout the whole film was beautifully done. Like, the way they end.
That Cyborg was the heart of that film.
Really, honestly and truly, in comparison to the original Justice League, where he was barely like a blip on the radar, like he was barely in that film. When in this film, he's a very core, like he very much drives this. I mean, they all drive the story in their own way, but I felt like he did more so than others. Just, I mean, even for him, the fact that he was created by the mother boxes.
Yeah, and also you can understand. Again, like behind the scenes, you can understand why Ray Fisher was upset at Joss Whedon's Justice League, because he was cut out, among other reasons. I know there was multiple reasons why Ray Fisher had problems with the film, but one of them was that, hey, he cut out all of my story. I totally in agreement with him. Like, dude, what the hell, man? What was that all about?
Yeah, if you were sitting on all that story and when you were looking like, oh, what parts of the story do I have to cut out? And you said that one. But get the fuck out of here. Like,
get out of here, Joss Whedon, just so you could reshoot butt shots. Like, we all know you love the butt. You love the ass, Joss Whedon, but you don't got to film it every single film. Like, get out of here. But, no, I agree. You know what? I will say this. The first 40 minutes of this film was better than the entire 2 hours of Joss Whedon's version of Justice League. Agreed. And that's because, I even wrote it down, we didn't see Batman and Flash in costume until 1 hour and 52 minutes in part 4 of this entire saga. So it's like, man, and which is, I've mentioned this before. I always have to preface this with, like, I love Marvel, because I really do. I have a huge respect for them. One of my favorite things about DC, though, is that it always seems like it's a film that happens to have superheroes in it, as opposed to a superhero film of people running around for 2 hours, like, chasing the bad guy and the villain.
Totally get it.
And I think this was a really good example of that, because, again, you didn't see Flash or costume. You know, the only costume person you saw was Superman dying in the preface of it, of the whole thing, of the opening. And then you saw Wonder Woman in that scene, which was completely different and more emotion in it when she was saving all those kids.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, Also, side note, the Wonder Woman theme still slaps. That shit is so good.
Yeah. And also for a film to have so many different scores that honor each character, but was still so I felt like it was blended so well into the film. Like none of them felt disjointed or like really out of place. Like it was just very well. Each of them was so very different, but so very well placed.
But so well connected. And you know, I love Junkie XL because I'm so glad that he came back because first of all, I mean, the music makes the film. I mean, Ernesto, you and I know this because we love to listen to just scores and soundtracks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some Danny Elfman. Don't get me wrong, I do. I think he does great. And whenever original Justice League came out, I loved the idea of bringing back that original Batman theme and the original Superman theme. It made sense in a way. However, for these versions of these characters, you can't throw in, John Williams and Danny Elfman's, Batman and Superman theme for Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck. It just never fits because it didn't fit in BVS. You can't come, dun 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 dun, and then you get the Justice League like dun 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 dun. It's like, no, stop it. Like,
Get out of here.
I appreciate it, but stop it. And in Junkie XL had talked about, he goes, you know what? We had to change up Batman's theme. And he was like, why though? He goes, it's because it makes sense. He goes, because he was no longer suffering from the death of his parents anymore. And he's now suffering the death of Superman and is trying to combine them together to become one. He goes, so Batman deserved a new theme. I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. You put so much thought into it as opposed to just like, let's throw some notes together and
see what happens.
Yeah, what happens.
Estevan, you make a good point because also like I'm a huge lover of movie scores as well, and like Hans Zimmer did the Man of Steel film. He scored the film of Man of Steel, and he gave us that iconic da-na, da-na, you know exactly what I'm talking about for Superman's theme. And then for Batman v Superman, it was Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL. They both scored the film, so it almost made kind of bringing it back full circle, and why even more fan service for Zack Snyder's Justice League is that they brought back one of the original composers that was giving you those themes the whole time throughout his trilogy. So it's everywhere. The attention of detail is everywhere in this film.
In every single thing. And it's funny because you know what? It's funny to see the support that everybody's having for this film as well too. Because every day it's a new tweet from like the Russo brothers. They're like, that was fucking beautiful, Zach. Congratulations on getting your version out there. And then having people like the original creator of Cyborg and Deathstroke that created them for comics says, tweeted, Zach, thank you so much for doing justice to these two characters. You legit did them justice. I mean, if I was Joss Whedon, I'd be crying in a corner right now because like nobody, like everybody's like, you were shit, bro. Like nobody's calling you out by name. I mean, at least in Hollywood, like fans are, but like everybody else, nobody's saying your name specifically, but they're all saying, thank God that other version's gone. Like, oh my God.
And Joss Whedon's over here. He's like, remember Avengers? That was good. Yeah, that
was me.
Like, shut up, Josh.
Like, shut up. Sit down.
So Esteban, I lost my train of thought here. So that's right. I watched. I did the full binge just like Ernesto did, but I started with Justice League, Joss Whedon's Justice League. I started with that first, and then I watched Man of Steel, which after I don't know how many years that movie came out, 8 years ago. Like the movie was okay then. I loved it now. I thought that movie it stands a test of one of Zack Snyder's best films. I thought it had so much heart and so much great storytelling for the character of Superman. I didn't really appreciate it then as much as I do now. Then I watched Batman v Superman: The Ultimate Edition. And it was the first time I watched it with the extra 30 minutes, and you're right, it does give out more clarity on a few things, but ultimately my thoughts for the film were kind of the same, that it was just all right. I didn't love it. Walking into Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, my expectations were very low because of my feelings toward Justice League in 2017. And I will have to say that everything I've ever said to you, giving shit on all of this, I apologize because this movie was downright fucking amazing.
Yeah.
If I was never really on release the Snyder cut. I'm like, look, like this movie's not gonna be that much different. What if it sucks? Like, you know, we probably don't need this movie. Like, I was never really on board with it. I was stuck over at Marvel Land being like, well, we're doing great over here. So, and so like and then I was even deterred by like, 4 hours really, Zack Snyder? All right, but I was gonna watch it anyway. It's like, it's more of a curiosity than anything. And man, did I have my foot in my mouth the whole time? I was like, oh shit. This is really good. Like, this is not like really good. This is like amazing. Like, and this is like just as Ernesto said, I sat down 4 hours straight. I didn't pause it. I watched the whole thing, and then when I was done, I'm like, that's it. Like Zach's like, what do you mean that's it? That's 4 hours. What do you mean that's it?
What do you want?
Yeah, and I'm like, I want more. Like, this was the movie that you've been sitting on for this long, and what's interesting is that,
you know what? He wasn't sitting on. This is the movie that Warner Brothers
was sitting on. Yes, absolutely. It's funny because I truly believe that this is not the version of Zack Snyder's Justice League we would have gotten if it came out in 2017. I think the studio was probably up his ass about, like, we're not releasing back in 2017, they're like, we're not releasing a 3-hour movie. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. We don't care what your plan is. The studio head's going to be the studio head, and they're probably going to cut it down, and then we're probably going to get maybe a 3-hour version like Batman v Superman in the Blu-ray. But this version would not have happened if it wasn't for the series of events that got to it. And so with the prep that was in Batman, the lead up to Zack Snyder's Justice League, the amount of fan base, and then to be rewarded like that, it's fantastic. I felt the same as when I was watching Avengers Endgame, and I felt more emotional for Avengers Endgame, but like, I sat through 22 minutes of all of these movies, and like, now I'm rewarded as a fan with Avengers Endgame. And then I felt like that people who are really into it, like yourself, of like really wanting the Zack Snyder's Justice League, here's your reward for wanting this version of the movie. And for me, as like not a casual viewer, I'm obviously a big fan of superhero content. But as as I was rewatching these, building myself up to Zack Snyder's Justice League, I'm like, bravo, man, bravo. That was. It's a different type of comic book film that it's a spectacle. Like, I wish this was on the big screen. I'm happy that I saw it, and it was sure, it was at my house, but like, man, that ending though. I'm not talking about the epilogue. I'm talking about, why the fuck would Joss Whedon take out Flash saving the world, and instead he saved a family of 4 in that ending scene is beyond me. I have no idea why he did that. But like, Barry Allen going back in time to do a wrong within that finale, I was like, I'm literally at the edge of my seat. Like, no? Are they doing it in this movie? What about Flashpoint? I was like, are you kidding?
But I think that is what Flashpoint is supposed to be about. Has to be a point. I mean, or is he gonna go back? Or unless that's his thing, to go back and save his mom, because the Flashpoint comic and animated film, he goes back and saves his mom, and that's what fucks up the world. Like, it does like a butterfly effect and fucks everything up.
I'm wondering if in the same thing, because I'm wondering if I'm wondering if he just paid homage to Flashpoint as opposed to that being the Flashpoint. You know what I mean? Because I think Flashpoint can still happen, because technically, I think this
it is happening. Like, a Flashpoint movie. Yeah, the Flashpoint movie is coming out. A version of a Flashpoint movie is happening.
Yeah, and that's what,
yes.
And I think this is like one of the cool things about comics, is that we can interpret it in different ways, and there can be different versions. And since DC is very big on their multiverse right now, I think that's cool that you can have different versions of Flashpoint. So Flashpoint isn't just one thing. Flashpoint can literally be anything, because Flashpoint could change at any point during the multiverse. And Joker made that comment as well too. He goes, "Why is it that every version?" He goes, "In every version, you're not man enough to kill, or you're not man enough to take care of what's going on." And even more so, because Zack Snyder made a comment of which Robin it was that Joker killed, and it's the Dick Grayson version, which it's crazy, because for comic book fans and DC fans and Batman fans, Dick Grayson is the first son. Like, that's almost like that's he's high up there because Dick has gone through everything. He was the original Boy Wonder. He became his own in Nightwing, and then he took on the mantle of Batman at one point, and then went back to becoming a secret agent. Like, Dick Grayson is the man, dude. Like, I love Dick Grayson. So for Zack Snyder to be bold enough to be like, actually, the Robin that died was Dick Grayson. It's like, oh, how dare you? I'm so intrigued, though. Like, what? Tell me more. So,
Yeah,
I mean, and I love that little quote. It's just like, I will never understand why you sent a Boy Wonder to do a man's job. I was like, ooh, fuck.
But from what I understand, like, we're done with the Snyderverse. Like, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and Ray Fisher, they're done. Like, they're done with those characters.
It's been interesting recently because now that this is becoming a success, there's been whispers everywhere, and then Zack has been like, no, I'm done. I have no interest of doing it anymore. I'm just gonna tell y'all what I decided to do as sequels. Like he said, oh, it was gonna be in the Nightmare version for the sequel. At the end, Batman would have sacrificed himself, and Lois and Clark's son would have became the new Batman. I was like, I want to see this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you know
I
what?
did.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know you're good. I was gonna say that I did. I watched a video that was explaining what was like Zack's vision of Justice League 2 and 3 and basically everything you were saying. But it was just like whatever he's saying, like this was this was coming up. Like, and like the fact that Zack Snyder had the balls to like, yeah, I left it on a cliffhanger on like there's more to come, but there's a chance that nothing's coming, but there's a chance that it might. I don't know. I just put it in the movie. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, but
AKA Warner Brothers, pay me and then I'll make the movie.
it's like pay him yesterday. Like seriously. And but it's
creative control.
And I love what Zack Snyder said because it was an interview and asking like, now the hashtag has now been restore the Snyderverse that's been trending after release the Snyder Cut. And so he went out and said like, look, if you would have told me, if you would have presented me two options saying that Zack Snyder, that Warner Brothers would have given me money to make this movie that's already been out for 4 years, or if Warner Brothers would have given me money to make a sequel to the movie that came out 4 years ago, I would have said that they would have given me money to make a sequel to the movie that came out before. Not they're giving me money to make the movie that's already out. So with that, he said never say never because I never thought I was going to make this movie. The Snyder Cut. So
and you know what? And I'm so glad that he was given the opportunity to release his version of the film before or instead of doing the sequel. Because honestly, I don't know if I would have been as excited for the sequel because that movie left such a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, how dare you, Superman, be like, do you bleed? And then throw him, and then Batman's like, something's bleeding. I was like, oh, stop it. I was like, screw you. Who wrote this?
Who wrote
this? I know. I was so mad. But you know what? Joss Whedon did such a disservice to these characters.
100%.
Because seeing Zack's original version, like, what the hell? Like, even the Flash. Obviously, we know Flash is supposed to be comedic relief every once in a while. And in Joss' version, that's all it was. And then here in Zack's version, those moments that I was expecting him to be, like, that comedic relief, he was very serious about it. Yeah. And then there was even moments where like, Flash would joke around, and then he wouldn't get a reaction from, like, Wonder Woman. So he's like, oh, no? Oh, okay. Or you're like, how are you gonna do it? And he's like, with the power of love. And then and Cyborg is like, Barry. He's like, oh yes, this and this. And he's like, okay, good. So I was like, I like that idea that he's fun and he's funny, but it's still serious. Like there wasn't a lot of joking in this film. There was some like chuckle moments here and there, but for the most part, like this is like we're getting down to business. We're here for some serious shit. We're gonna make sure everybody knows what's going on, and we're gonna show you why Ray Fisher is Cyborg. And I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking beautiful. Like, yeah.
Finally did Cyborg justice.
Even Martha Kent got a good little portion of the film in there, and it was a decent amount of screen time, and it made sense. Like, it didn't take away from anything. It added more to the story, and it gave it a little bit more heart. And I don't know, it was just it was a way to just kind of like revisit it, and then it was funny. I watched Justice League right before Justice League, and it really did feel like nerd Christmas for me. I set my alarm for midnight, and then I woke up, and they were like, "Oh, it's not gonna be released until midnight Pacific time." I was like, "Fuck, that's at 2 in the morning. All right, go back to sleep." And then I woke up at 1, so I could. And then I woke up at 1 so I could do a final for school, and then I finished my final. I was like, "All right, power nap for like 25 minutes," and then I powered nap for 25 minutes, and then I woke up at 2 a.m. I watched Justice League straight through, and then I was just blown away, and I instantly, once the credits rolled, I put my shoes on and I got in the car and I drove for 8 hours to West Texas to go camp, and then just thought about it the entire way over there.
Whew.
And I will be, it's an 8-hour drive, and for 4 of those hours, I just played Zack Snyder's Justice League in the background in the car, just listening to it, and it was
That's hilarious.
just driving. I was like, I just want to get into that again. I just want to like hear some of the dialogue and stuff. But and here's the thing. I've always thought Amy Adams as Lois was a little, I don't know. It's a hit or miss for me with Amy Adams on sometimes. I really do love her. But as Lois, it was kind of eh. Amy Adams as Lois Lane in Zack Snyder's version of Justice League was great. Amy Adams as Lois Lane in Joss Whedon's version of Justice League is whiny. And I don't like it. I just thought everything that happened with his version was just a great way to round these characters off, bring them back to this like original aspect of what they really mean and who they really are. And man, Wonder Woman was great. I love the whole Amazons having this huge. I mean, and it was funny. Tucker was watching it with me. He's like, "Did she just lock them into this thing and just like drown them in the middle of the ocean?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude! You gotta make sacrifices sometimes."
The greater good, Tucker. Keep moving, all right?
Yeah, I know.
Shit happens.
Shit happens. Get over it. But I thought it was great. And then I don't know who was in the visual effects division when Justice League came out, the first theatrical one. They're like, let's make him less scary and make him into this like shit Steppenwolf that has no backstory.
Yeah.
Like what? And that's what now we got it. We got a full thing. I understand him. I understand parademons now. I understand, Apocalypse and who, Darkseid is. It's like we didn't get that. We didn't get any of that from the first one. And now you actually have something to like tangible to like hold on to. You have something to feel emotional about. That first one was just literally a Saturday morning cartoon, like I said. It was an episode from Justice League Unlimited that made no sense and had nothing to do with the complete storyline.
Well, again, you make a lot of great points. I feel like the biggest thing about this movie was clarity. Literally in the first frame, you see Superman dying, and you see like his I don't know, echo sounds, his voice literally waking
Life
up.
Force or whatever.
Life Force, sonar, whatever you want to call it, but him dying awoken the mother boxes. And like I literally said out loud, I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense." I just watched 2 days ago the original Justice League, and I was like, that could have taken 5 minutes. You could have added that in there to make sense, but like you just had to skip over it. Instead, we got Batman fighting a parademon, and Alfred being like, "We got to get the sonar." I'm like, well, I'm glad that wasn't in the movie because that that was a weird way to start it. But like Superman dying and awakening the mother boxes made complete sense. Like again, Estevan, like you were saying, we get a lot more backstory on Steppenwolf. We understand that he's basically Loki and he wants to, impress Thanos. I get it now. Click. Done. Parademons. Oh, they're just the souls of the people, the planet you took over? Great. I understand that. Like, where was that in the original version? I don't understand as a storyteller why you would decide to leave some of the things out. Now, that being said, the women singing and picking up Aquaman's clothes after he goes into the ocean, yeah, I can see why you cut that out. That makes sense. That didn't need to be in there,
weird.
but like,
and that is a little weird. But you know what? And it's funny. I talked to my sister about that too, and she's like, I have 2 issues. I was like, it's probably my same too. Go ahead. She's like, I think there was a lot of slow motion. I was like, okay, yeah, I agree. I go, that's kind of like Zack Snyder's forte. Like, look at
that's his thing. Yeah.
Look at Man of Steel. Look at everything. Like, that's his thing. And you had 4 hours of it this time. And she goes, and the singing. I go, I will give you that as well too. I go, but I think that we were just taken aback because we're so used to a score and not actual vocals, because like Wonder Woman's theme is still there, but it has added vocals beforehand now, like the and you're like, it's about to go down.
but even with Wonder Woman's scene though, like technically for the most part the scene kind of played out the same as it was in the Justice League version. The big difference was after the whole scene was over and this little girl was like, I want to be you one day. And then I forgot what Wonder Woman said after that. I'm like, that's so touching to have that scene in there. Gives the character levity. And you're like, nah, cut it. We're good. We don't need that. And move on. And like, we don't need that part in there. There's a lot of extra scenes that just make sense. And that was the biggest takeaway I got. And then also, obviously, they were re-edited. Like, you went back to Lois Lane. Lois Lane was used as a plot device. She, like, once Superman was reborn and was, like, you know, taking down everybody, Batman's like, take out the secret weapon. And then Lois shows up. And she's like, Superman, stop! And then like they both fly away. But then in Zack Snyder's version, Lois Lane was visiting his gravesite, or I guess his memorial, every single day since his death. You can tell that she still loved him, had feelings for him. She was like, literally like, this is my last day. Yeah. Like, I think I need to move on. I spoke to Martha Kent, who was actually Martian Manhunter, and was like, you got to move on. She's like, you're right. I'm going to do one last visit with my cup of coffee, and then I'm going to bounce. And, well, now Superman's return. You make a good day to want to leave. And like that, it just makes so much, it's just better. Like that's a better storytelling of someone revisiting rather than I'm going to use you as a plot device if I need you, because I don't know if this is going to work or not, but maybe, I don't know. And then Ernesto, like you were saying, Cyborg got justice for Cyborg. We got his intro, his middle, his relationship with his father, the death of his father. Like, there was weight behind that, and like we understood the journey of the mother boxes. It was just a spectacle to see.
Definitely. Such a great movie.
And one of the things that I really loved, because I know when they were releasing, they were like, all right, you're gonna be able to watch it 4 hours and 2 minutes straight through, or you're going to be able to watch it in chapters. So I was getting a little worried about that, because I was like, man, I really don't want them to release it in chapters, because then you're going to have the critics be like, that made no sense. Well, guess what? You didn't watch it in order. So, but as opposed to that, I love the fact that they were all broken up into chapters, but you still had to watch the whole 4 hours and 2 minutes in order to get there.
Yes. And that was the mistake that I thought. I thought there were like 2 different tabs you could have done. Like, here's the miniseries version, or here's the 4 hour long version. But I like you said, it actually worked well with the movie of the chapters being there. It's like, all right, part 4. I'm like, okay, I'm moving along with the story. Now this is just a part. Like, you can choose to stop or you can choose to keep going. That was a good move on it, and like it didn't distract me at all from the movie. Like, overall, it was just like, again, I want to go back to the final battle scene. It looks so much better. First of all, it looked way better in the night than it did in the red sky. Mm-hmm. Then the red sky was in Justice League, and then Zack Snyder's like, we don't need the red sky. We don't need that. We also got like a freeze frame of all. It was like a slow-mo freeze frame of all like all the members of the Justice League kind of like standing still. And I almost been like, to me when I saw that, it just said, "Fuck you, Joss Whedon. I did this better than you." It was like, you got your circle moment in Avengers, but look at this right here.
Look at this. Yeah. Here's the fucking Batmobile in there. Like, that's correct. Like, everybody. Like, it makes so much sense. I love that shit. And again, that goes back to like wishing we had that in theaters, because if I would have saw that shit on IMAX, that would have been one of those moments where I went, yep. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like those are moments that you cheer with people in the crowd. Like those, like imagine when Captain America picked up his shield and you watched it at home. You're like, oh! Anybody? No, just me.
No, just me. I saw that. All right.
Just saw that, or just like, or just like you're watching it like either on your phone or whatever, and then like even with you, Ernesto, like, oh my God, did you just see the keep it down, honey? We got to feed the kids in a minute, okay? Like you lose that atmosphere just a little bit. Yeah. It's like when you're a room full of fans Like that's how that should have been watched. And like, I lost my shit.
Scene. Can you imagine
Exactly.
the theater if when the Martian Manhunter comes out, everybody would be like, "What is happening? Oh my god!"
People just throw themselves on the screen. Amazing.
And
but I just thought that there was a lot of like those, like, again, going back to the end, when like you had them actually working as a team, like them like fighting together. Like it felt like that in the original version they were fighting separately for a bigger cause, where in this movie I felt like they were working together to go against Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
And again, I go back to that Barry Allen scene. Like I could literally watch Barry Allen go back in time over and over and over again. That was like my on your left for Captain America and the portals, or picking up the shield. That was like that moment where like that is cinematic. That is like huge. I love that scene.
Yeah. And completely and so important to like going forward as well too, because again, Barry just fucking saved the world. He didn't just save some rando family in some toxic, radioactive like town for some reason. I don't know why that was even there. And so yeah, I think Barry played a big part. But one of my biggest things that I was noticing after I watched it again, there's some really, really, really small details that I love, because it just shows that Zack's not just a director; he's a legit fan. Like he loves these characters.
Yeah, he does.
If you look at that very end, after everybody's done their thing and everybody's kind of going back, Flash is doing his thing, running through Central City, and Cyborg's doing his thing, Wonder Woman and everything, and Batman's on top of that tank. That's the fucking tank from The Dark Knight Returns, from Frank Miller's version. And then if you look very, very closely, in the headlights of the tank, he has a gang. He has what are they? The mutant gang members. He has a bunch of mutant gang members wrapped up in rope, waiting, to be taken by GCPD at some point.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my god, I didn't even notice that the first time. Like, you have the mutant gang members sitting in front of the tank from like The Dark Knight Returns. I was like, Zack Snyder, you son of a bitch. I love you.
It's truly a shame that like the studio heads can't see the genius of what this is, and hopefully they change their minds. With the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and like you've already, like, or Estevan, you said they're already introducing the multiverse. This could be one of them. Sure, I mean they've already came out and said, oh, this isn't part of the DCEU. Like, we don't give a fuck what this is a part of.
Fuck you. You already make bad decisions anyways. Fuck y'all.
You obviously don't know what you're talking about.
I know.
Exactly. But luckily we're still getting these, we're still getting Wonder Woman movies, the Flashpoint is coming out, we're getting an Aquaman sequel. Like, some of these characters are still living on. But that also gives me hope that maybe, just maybe, we could get a little bit more of Zack Snyder's Justice League. But ultimately, kind of like my final statements on this, it's just like it's true fandom reuniting and then being rewarded at the same time. This movie was fantastic. It made me love. Like, it also just a stylized. It was also just a visually amazing to watch all of these images come to life, and like, especially for the fans who've wanted this for so long, and like Zack Snyder basically teasing everybody of like, well, here's what this could have looked like. Also, we got the Superman's black and white suit. That's like badass. Like that's a badass looking suit.
So nice.
Yeah.
It's like,
dude.
Josh, why'd you give him color? And like, great, he looks good in blue and red. No one's doubting what a good suit looks like, but that black and white it's a badass suit, man. It's a love letter to comic fans, love letter to comic books, just filmmaking in general. Like, yes, it's a 4-hour movie, but I would have sat there for another 2 and just witnessed what this was. So I absolutely love the film.
As did I, and I think and I think that it just constantly now I think it just shows how much I'm now I'm pissed, because it's like, fuck, damn you, Warner Brothers, I want more.
Yeah.
I would even be happy if we got like a prequel series of Batman and him and Deathstroke, and then Batman fighting different other villains like in Gotham before Justice League. But still Ben Affleck, and you know what I mean? I would appreciate that, just so it feels like we're getting a little bit more of that Snyder version into it. I know Warner Brothers is giving us a Green Lantern series, and so
That's right.
It was great to see the lanterns in that fight scene. Oh, let me back up real quick because I have a huge appreciation for that whole scene of the old gods fighting.
Darkseid
when he first
Yeah,
came to Earth.
another great scene.
That was incredible. Like that scene alone is like is an entire show or something right there, because it was beautiful. The choices that Zack made for like the gods, having the Amazons there, having the Atlanteans before they going into the water, and then having Gal just narrate the entire thing was brilliant. And I just read something about the whole Green Lantern scene. After he cuts off his hand and he kills the lantern, the ring comes up and goes off, and like I think it was the original creator or somebody from the comics was like, well, don't forget, the ring always searches for somebody that has the most like willpower, and clearly after destroying 100,000 Earths, he has the willpower, but that's why the ring hesitated, because he was like, oh shit, now we sense like evil, how much evil's in you, so then it shot off. So that's why the ring hovered for a little bit, because like, oh, technically this guy would be next to have it. It's like, oh, wait. Nope.
Hold up.
Hey, not the green one.
Hold up, wait a minute. So I was like, oh my god. And because now I even want more. I want to see also Steppenwolf's demise was
my god.
So much better than stupid ass like he died because they can smell his fear now. Shut up, Joss Whedon. Shut up.
You literally you got like a push, a shove, and a beheading.
Yeah. And like you were saying, they were working together a lot more this time, Matt, and like we had a solid story, because even Flash's dialogue when they first see Steppenwolf, he in the original version, he was like, I just pushed some people and ran away. And you're like, come on, Barry. And in this one, he's like, man, I miss Superman right now. He goes, but this is the bad guy. Let's fucking go. And he's like, this isn't together. So, like, they understood that they were supposed to be a team, at least trying to be a team. So they had a few missteps here and there. But for the most part, like, they came together to do. And Joss Whedon can, I don't care what Joss Whedon does, but Zack Snyder just delivered everything that I wanted from it, and then even more. I had my surprise moments, I had my heartfelt moments, and your emotional moments, and then you had complete moments of action and just amazement, like pure, and it really was just. It was 4 hours, and it's not even a film. That is literally art. It was art.
Yeah. Estevan, I forgot your name.
Wow.
Wow, Matthew.
Wow.
So, Estevan, I got your name right this time, and Ernesto, Ernesto, I'll ask you the same question. If Warner Bros. Like, hey, we're not doing a live action version of this anymore, but we will give you an animated version in the continuation of Zack Snyder's Justice League, would that be good enough for you?
No, not even close.
No, that's a hard question, and no, I'm gonna answer no right away, because don't get me wrong, DC animation is top notch. Like that's the one thing that they do beautifully. However, it's not like Smallville. After 10 seasons of me and Ernesto literally religiously watching Smallville, and then after the 10th season being like, all right, this is what the 11th season would have been. We're gonna give you a graphic novel. That's cool. I can go with that. Like I could get on board with that. With this, though, this is completely different. Like, this has a different feel to it. This has a different emotion attached to it. You can't just give me all of this and then, like, contradict, not contradict, but, like, kind of, like, almost, like, treat the fans like, all right, here you go. You're going to enjoy this if it's Zack Snyder still, but we're going to give you an animated version. I'm going to be like, no, that's not, no, we're not going to do that. But, yeah, yes, I would enjoy an animated version of something, but no, not a sequel to this.
No.
All right, Estevan, I'm sorry, wow. Ernesto, same question to you and your final thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No, that would not suffice, especially after seeing all of this, and like it's just really sad, because the only thing sad it makes me feel is that it's like, it just shows me what could have been. Like like DC with this, to me, there's potential for DC to give Marvel a run for their money when it comes to their films. I felt like this is the first
Seriously.
time. This is the first time they've come out like really strong and done a really great job as far as universe building. They left enough time for everybody's character to be fleshed out, and they did so much setting up, but still didn't take away from what the film was trying to accomplish. They gave you setups for. They basically gave you a backdoor pilot for Cyborg and the Flash and Aquaman to a smaller extent.
And Deathstroke.
And Deathstroke. And Deathstroke. And
Joe Manganiello with Deathstroke is mwah. I love it. I'm here for
best
it.
thing. And then, I know I loved it, man. It's just sad because I want more, but I mean, who knows if anything will come in the future? Because I mean, especially I would really love to see a Ben Affleck Batman movie directed by Zack Snyder, completely like untouched from the studio. Like let that man just get complete creative control and just give us the full film. Doesn't matter if it's 5 hours long and 16 parts or 8 hours long and 20 parts. Like, because
let Ben beat the fuck out of some people, please.
I really think with this, Zack Snyder found the way to to make his movies more digestible. Like having it in the parts, it doesn't seem as daunting as a task for people to watch his films. Because it's basically a big ass miniseries, just not chopped up into episodes.
Yeah, pretty much. And I like what you said when, I'm losing my train of thought here. It's my brain's going out. You said something that I liked. I don't remember what it was anymore.
Was it about creative control?
Creative control, yes. I'm gonna be honest. Batman
I will say this. I will say this. Zach did bring Ben Affleck to do the reshoot for that nightmare scene, and man, like, and it was funny because I was talking about this with my sister. She's like, and you can tell Ben lost weight, isn't like slimmer because when
yes, he did.
That nightmare scene, he had like the cowl just was like a little bit bigger on his face than usual. I was like, but man, that also kind of fit very well in the fact that it's like this apocalyptic, place where nobody's really getting healthy lifestyles, anyways. And so I was like, that was great. And then to reference all of these people, and then, again, I think Jared got a redemption instantly, but I love the fact that they gave Jared that line of, he goes, how many different versions, timelines does it take for you to become a man? And I love that because that sentence alone explains there's no tattoos or no damage and all this other stuff, because how many versions have you gone through in this version of Joker? So I was like, that makes a lot more sense, and I really like the way that he was able to, like, all right, let's recheck this and not put some weird ass tattoos on him, and still let him be the Joker, not have to have short hair, and let Jared Leto come in and just be Jared Leto basically, and we'll just cake on some white.
Yeah, and also not only that, is like when he said that line, like how many versions do you have to go through? I'm like, wait,
how many did you go through?
How many did you? Zach, what are you saying right now? Like how many did he go through? Like how many? What version of this are we seeing right now? And I remember what I was going to say now. Zack Snyder could have easily ended it. Like you said that you were saying, Ernesto, that you wish, like you hate that you wanted more. Like after you're done watching, like you want to see what happens next. And like, well, Zack Snyder had all the power to do that. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna end it here. I'll wrap up the story to make it cohesive. But he was like, no, I'm gonna give you what I wanted. And like again, like we've all been saying, he left room for that. Like it's not a cliffhanger. It's just like this is where the story would have been.
But
so I don't know.
It's smart.
He's so
smart because he left it at a place to where the fans have already fought to get the Snyder Cut out there, and if there's such a good reception, especially for the way that he ended it, he left the universe so open-ended that it almost demands that there be follow-up to what we just watched. Like I felt like after I watched those 4 hours, I was like, okay, there clearly needs to be more story. Like he has to tell the nightmare story. Like it feels like a necessity. Like
yes.
But that could be smart on his part. Like, hey, maybe this is my negotiation to come back for you guys, so I can give the fans exactly what they want. And maybe this is a testament to show you, okay, well, just put my shit on HBO Max, and everybody will come watch it.
But also, like, we don't know what the Flashpoint story is going to be, and we do know that Ben Affleck's Batman is going to be in it. So who's to say that, Zack Snyder might have...
I need you to become correct again. Ben Affleck and who is going to be in this Flash movie?
And Michael Keaton's Batman is also going to be in the movie.
Don't you dare disrespect the Batman.
I wasn't disrespecting... I'm not disrespecting the Batman.
Say his name.
Say his name.
Where I was getting at was that because these characters are still living on and because it's a Flashpoint story, who's to say that a part of Zack Snyder's story could continue in the movies? And if the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League is big and Flashpoint goes big, and also it does help that his new movie on Netflix, Army of the Dead, that comes out in 2 months from now, if that's a huge hit, then Warner Brothers is like, oh man, he's having one hell of a year. He's having, he's doing something. Let's bring him back on. The possibilities are literally endless.
Yeah.
But it's out there, and he was like Ernesto, you were saying, very smart to kind of leave it open ended. Like, yeah, other people could pick up from it, or I could do it. Whichever one you want, Warner Brothers, your call. You've told me to make a movie, and I did.
I just feel like Warner Brothers is going to be in a year or in a few months is going to be like, Zach, can you come back and do like all what you were going to do, because everybody's protesting what we're doing.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching our movies anymore.
and it's funny because then it'd be like the reversal of with Marvel. Like Marvel's like, hey, James Gunn, we made a mistake. Can you come back? And like, you gotta hold up for a second. I'm doing Suicide Squad, so you're gonna have to chill.
Yeah.
I'll get back to my Guardians. It's still my baby, but like I got a new baby going on, so I'm gonna give some love to that first. And like I can only imagine if like Marvel sweeps up Zack Snyder, like, Warner Brothers, you want him? No? All right, we'll take him. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting as well too. And you know what? And again, I will say that what's been really cool with Warner Brothers right now is it was really smart of them, because I've been dying for a Suicide Squad trailer. It's coming out in like June or August. Like it's
August, yeah, it's quick.
We don't even have a trailer. We had the behind the scenes from like DC Fandom, but
so
that
true.
was it.
Yeah.
But it's also smart because it hasn't taken away anything from like Zack Snyder's Justice League. We didn't see any like new release, like we didn't see any new behind the scenes images from Matt Reeves' Batman. We haven't seen anything from the Suicide Squad. We haven't heard anything about Black Adam, even though it's getting ready to start filming. We haven't heard anything about the Flash, even though it's about to start filming like very soon. It's just been Zack Snyder's Justice League that has been being focused on, and I was like, that's pretty brilliant, and also makes me wonder, like, what else do you have up your sleeve? Because if you're really putting all this focus on just Zack's right now, maybe y'all do want some more from him, and you're just going to try to lead us to think that this is it. Yeah,
possibly. Who knows? But I'm excited that he was able to create his vision, and I'm happy that this movie was released finally. And it's just a testament that, fans do control things sometime.
Yeah.
Look at Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, seriously. But anything else to say before we wrap this up?
It was beautiful, and if you haven't watched it, watch it. And if you want somebody to watch it with you, I will watch it again for another and guide you through it all.
Estevan will keep you company.
Yeah.
Ernesto, anything else you got to say?
Let me just say this though.
Sorry.
So, Justice League, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. The only reason it gets a 2 is because like my favorite characters are on film together. The only reason. And then you got Justice League, which I mean, it's going to be bold of me to say, but I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
Is it going to be bold for you to say?
Nobody expected that.
Okay, maybe it's not bold for me to say.
Oh, okay.
Dare I say?
Dare I say it? It was a 10 out of 10.
I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, I don't even think it compares at all to the 2017 Justice League.
It doesn't. You can take that movie out.
Yeah, like just even the mere fact that this movie shows even for the fact that this movie shows Darkseid in the 2017, I don't think that they did. Did they?
They didn't. They did. It ignored it.
No.
It's kind of an important part of the plot.
Yeah, a little bit.
Was it BVS or was it Justice League that had the Flash come in?
It was BVS. Yeah.
BVS.
Because
Yeah.
in BVS, the nightmare scene in BVS, whenever Batman overlooks like the apocalyptic world, you see Darkseid's like logo.
Ship.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, but other than that, that was it.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously, it was a great movie, and I'm glad it was released. And as fans of superhero content, give us more, please. That's all we're asking. Give us more.
It's worth the 4 hours.
It's worth the
We
4
don't
hours.
ask for much.
But we do.
but we do, yeah.
So there you go. That was our spoiler review of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's available to watch on HBO Max. Hey, thanks for listening to this edited version of our weekly podcast, Box Office Bingers. If you want to hear the full version of all of our episodes, which includes us discussing entertainment news, movie and TV reviews, guest interviews, and other things we've been watching, you can find us on wherever you listen to podcasts.
And if you want more from us, be sure to hit that subscribe button and find us on our social media channels on Instagram at boxoffice_bingers, Facebook at boxofficebingers, email at boxofficebingers@gmail.com, and Matt, we're even on the TikTokies. We're on the TikTokies at Box Office Bingers. Once again, thanks for listening.